All right, listeners, go ahead and get your torches, your pitchforks, your implements of outrage, because this week we're going to talk about overused cliches in the coaching space, particularly specific words that people use that are so commonly used that they've either lost meaning or they just grind people's gears, to put it plainly. And we're going to talk about what those words are, and I bet you've been using a lot of them if you are a coach. But before we get into that, there is something else we want to talk about, because last weekend, Alanna and I crossed paths in Toronto at the Mystik Market. Alanna.
Yeah, the Mystik Market. It was such a fun market to be part of. And I was actually reading poems there.
I just
Yeah,
sauntered
you
in.
were just hanging out.
I got a latte.
You met some people,
Yeah.
Got your poem read.
Got my palm read.
I've just been kind of on a bit of a high since Sunday because poem reading is relatively new for me. And this opportunity kind of just came out of nowhere. It was such a great opportunity to just get out there and be in public and in person with people rather than like behind Zoom, and introduce myself and my work to a new audience, a bunch of people who probably would never have come across me had I not been at this market. So, I just wanted to let everybody know that's listening, if there's some kind of hidden talent you have or something that you may not think is related to coaching, that you could go out there and do a live event or participate in something, do it, because it's a really great way to meet a different type of person and introduce your work to new people. So think outside the box is basically what I'm saying when it comes to marketing your business. Like, yes, social media is amazing. Investigating markets or, I don't know, different opportunities in your city is like a really great way to gain exposure and also just like light you up.
Yeah.
I feel like it just gave me like sort of this new, renewed energy when it comes to the work that I do and just meeting new people. And I think, we've been in this kind of like post-COVID hangover of like wanting to go out, but then being so comfortable on Zoom, right? That it's almost like we forgot about these live events and these fun things that you can go and do.
Yeah. Either to attend them as a attendee or to just get a table and be part of the event. There's less of a barrier of entry than people might think.
Yeah.
For a lot of these shows and markets and stuff. And, if you got something to market or you got something to share, consider it,
Mm-hmm. Well, even for hypnosis or even coaching, like, honestly, you could have had, someone could have easily had like just a coaching table there too.
Yeah.
Where you were doing maybe quick hypnosis, or maybe you're a Reiki person, or, maybe you do stuff with crystals. I don't know. Just putting it out there. Think outside the box.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. It was a good time. Cool.
Especially with summer coming. Like, I'm thinking about starting to read poems just at Trinity Bellwoods Park on the weekends. It's so busy there. I just could go
little plaque.
Put out a big carpet,
big
sit
blanket.
there.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So shall we talk about these controversial words?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, some of them are like coaching specific and some of them are like general online business and entrepreneurship. It's a good list.
It is. I'm calling this the thesaurus episode.
Yeah.
Because as we go through these words and kind of talk about them, I think we should also give suggestions of like words you could use to replace these words. Because really, it's easy to get into the trap of using these cliche words, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's just sort of like, you're in the mode of creating your content, and it's just those are the easy words to grasp. But one thing that's going to really help you stand out and is going to help you look different or maybe make people stop and think. Because a lot of our reading, when it comes to like reading the stuff on social media, is subconscious, right? So we're just like reading and like we're expecting to see these words from the coaches that we're following or healers that we're following. But when you read something and there's different language, that's almost like a pattern interrupt, right? Like it's sort of like, oh, that's an interesting word. I've never, you're not used to seeing it. So then you pay attention.
Yeah.
Right. So that's also why I think it's important that we talk about this today, because it's not just about cliche words and, using those things, but it's about like, how can you create content that is more engaging and more interesting for people to listen to or watch. And this is actually would probably be really effective for video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Good points. Okay, word number 1, transformation.
Yeah.
Transformation used very frequently, very frequently. And by the way, I mean, as you hear these words, take it with a grain of salt. If you like these words and you want to use them, you do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Just be mindful that, a lot of them have become cliches at this point. But transformation is one we see a lot. And a lot of the words on this list are going to be what's called nominalizations, which means it's a noun, but it's something that's more of a theory than, a regular noun, which would be an object, right? Like transformation is an intangible thing. It is a concept, right?
Yeah.
So something to be mindful of.
Yeah. And honestly, I think the word transformation can sort of feel a little bit confronting for some people, especially if they're just getting into the coaching space. Like, do I want to be transformed? Like,
yeah, that's true. Like, is this word going to even resonate with a regular person who is not, a coach, if that's who you're serving, which most coaches don't serve other coaches. Most coaches serve people who are looking for specific results, right? So
yeah,
a lot of these words are understood and appeal to people who are in the coaching industry. And if that's you, but not your clients, that's another sign that you may want to be mindful of how often you're using this language.
Yeah. Like it's almost like as the coach, we're projecting our experience of being coached because most likely you have been through a transformation. But is that actually what you wanted when you started? Probably not.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Love it. We got 19 more on this list, so we got to move quick.
Okay.
Number 2, authenticity. All right. It's probably a really good idea to have authenticity and to be authentic, but not to call out your authenticity by telling people, here's why I'm authentic, or this, that, or the other. Keep harping on the word authenticity, which is also a nominalization, right? And it's okay to use nominalizations, by the way, but it's a concept, right? And it's abstract. And the thing about nominalizations is that different people will interpret them in different ways, always.
Yeah.
Right? There's no, when we talk about a noun like a car, there's a pretty standard definition of what is a car, right?
Yeah.
People might have slightly different, imagery in their mind when you say that word, but we're all thinking of the same thing. When you say authenticity, everybody's going to have a different concept internally of what you're meaning, right? So it creates ambiguity as well, in addition to being a cliche.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I take from that is really, if you're going to use that word, for example, or you're going to use any of these nominalizations, you should really define what that means to you so that your audience understands what you mean when you're using that word or those words.
Yeah.
Mindset.
Mindset matters, everybody. It really does. But this word mindset, yeah, definitely used very frequently. And again, it's going to appeal maybe to people who already understand why their mindset is so important in getting results. And you got to determine if that's your client, if that's your niche or not. Like this, mindset, this one's an interesting one because it's not a bad word and it is something that we do need to be mindful of. But maybe get a little bit more specific if you're going to be talking about mindset. This one I don't really have too much of an objection to. Like the next word on the list, empowerment.
Mm,
This
yeah.
one, like, really is the danger zone if you're selling empowerment,
True.
because a lot of coaches are selling empowerment, and not a lot of clients are looking to buy empowerment. This is where we see a real mismatch here, right? Because ultimately, what people want from coaching is a specific result, and rarely is that specific result, even if you know it's empowerment, rarely is the potential client thinking in their mind, I wish I were more empowered. What they're thinking in their mind is, I wish I had more money, I wish I was healthier, or I wish I had more love or better relationships in my life. Those
Yeah.
specific things or
Yeah.
variations thereof,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, those things will be the byproduct of empowerment, but a lot of clients aren't going to get that. And this is so like abstract of a concept that if that's what you're selling, or like, there's this old cliche, like, I help people step into their power,
Power. Yeah.
right? Which is,
Totally.
obviously attached to empowerment.
Yeah.
A lot of people have that messaging, and it doesn't appeal, very much to a very wide audience.
Yeah. Cause like, what does that mean? Right. Step into your power. I mean, I'm guilty right here because I've said it before. I've probably got tons of content if you scroll back far enough in my Instagram feed where I've, talked about stepping into your power.
Yeah.
It's like
Again, we're
dropping
not
from your head into your heart and getting grounded in your knowing. Same
knowing. Yeah,
thing.
of course. Again, we're not saying don't use these words. We're just saying remember that they may not resonate
Yeah.
with people the way you might be imagining, or you might be so used to using them, in the company of other coaches, that you forget that you sound weird when you say this stuff to regular people,
Yeah.
right?
Well, the conversation I've been having a lot lately with people is rather than using these big abstract words, really think about the tangible. Like, what can you teach that's very tangible? What can you communicate that's very tangible for a regular person who's not a coach, who's not, been having a journey of like self improvement and self empowerment? Um, what would you have wanted to learn specifically before you went down this journey or before you started making change to your mindset or whatever you're doing? I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Getting really granular about what you're teaching people and keeping it really simple. Like you're really good at that, Ryan, in terms of like what you teach and how you teach. You get very granular and very simple and can
Yeah.
create like an hour presentation on something that's just easy, right?
Yeah.
So approach your content from that perspective sometimes too.
Yeah. Uh, let's look at the next two as a pair. Clarity and alignment.
Mm,
Clarity and alignment. A lot of people talking about clarity and alignment. And again, these are abstract concepts that like are at the forefront of the mind of the coach, and not necessarily a regular person. This like really falls into that empowerment a category
mm,
where it's like nobody's like, oh, I really need to find a clarity and alignment coach so that
yeah,
I can, find the job of my dreams. They're thinking I need to find the job of my dreams because I hate my job,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um, and yeah, that involves getting into alignment, and that involves finding clarity. But if we're using this language, are we meeting the client where they are now?
yeah,
Which is
yeah,
something we need to do.
yeah.
Right.
What just popped into my mind is like maybe challenge yourself this week to not using any of these words in your content,
Yeah.
and see if you can be a lot have more clarity in your message by like just being like, I'm not allowed to use these words, and you can have the list in front
Yeah.
of you. And then I think you're going to notice like how much you're actually using these words. And then
Yeah.
maybe think of like, okay, what am I really trying to say here? What's another word I could use to describe this word? That would
Yeah.
actually be fun. I'm going to do that this
We
week.
can call it the talk like a normal human challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Next one.
All right.
Self-care.
Self
Self-care.
care.
Self-care. Self-care. Yeah. So much talk about self-care, where it's like somebody puts a picture of a person sitting on the sofa eating a slice of pizza, and it's like self-care. And it's like, okay, we get it. Yeah. So like, does
Yeah.
anybody not know that you're allowed to relax sometimes?
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
okay. It's okay.
is anybody in the world not aware that you can sit on the sofa and eat a slice of pizza and drink sparkling wine?
Yeah.
Because you can, you know, we don't need to necessarily educate everyone that that's a form of self. So much talk about self-care, but I mean, it
So
is a good
much.
message. The thing is, like when people do those posts, it comes from a place of love, obviously,
It
you know, and I can't
does.
fault that. But yeah, self-care is a term that gets thrown around quite a bit. Again, it's
Yeah.
not wrong or bad. It's just it's thrown around quite a bit.
Yeah, too much. Actually, it's really interesting. This week, I don't know if someone prominent said this week or not, but it's all about the message is all about how if once you're feeling safe and once you have got to this place in your healing journey and you're feeling safe, then your body is going to be really tired and it's going to want to sleep and rest because it finally feels like it's allowed, right?
Mm.
Anyway, every time I open Instagram this week, that is the first message that's popping up, and it's coming from like a different coach.
Wow.
So, someone at the top of the chain put that message out there like on Monday morning. And every time I've opened Instagram, it's only Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
That message keeps popping up and I'm like, who said this? Like, where is everybody copying this content from? So get a different message, I think, is pick your own messages. Like, it's important, obviously, you can use other people's content as inspiration, but it does get really boring when you're just like reiterating other people's messages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be original, use your own words. Abandon this list of cliches, and then you're going to stand out because people are going to be like, oh, that I haven't seen that message.
Yeah. Agreed. Next two, journey and breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And breakthrough.
I think I've already said journey a few times in
Yeah.
this episode.
Yeah. I mean, again, they're not bad words. Breakthrough is a common term in NLP because there's a specific process called an NLP breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I see some NLP practitioners, particularly some of the more successful ones, doing is they rename that process for their niche to something else,
Yeah.
From breakthrough. Journey, I mean, yeah, journey's not necessarily a bad word, but yeah, I use it sparingly these days because we're seeing it a lot.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I renamed breakthrough to life amplifier.
Yeah.
For example.
Which is nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amplifier later on this list of overused words. No,
is it?
No, it's not.
It's not. It's not.
No, it's not. Amplifier is not overused yet.
It's getting there though.
Because of Alanna Banks, yeah. Okay, so
this word I love. I love the word pivot.
Pivot, yeah, pivot's on the list, but yeah, pivot's not so bad. Pivot's a good word. I don't think pivot's necessarily too overused.
I don't think so either. I would replace pivot with potency or potent. I think that's too overused.
Pivot, I think, is really highly used in like the startup space, like in the tech startup space. Like we need to pivot. The investors are putting on the prep. But in coaching, I don't know if pivot's really overused just yet. And then growth, growth mindset. There hasn't been a word on this list so far, as I was hoping, where it would be like, yes, we all need to stop using this word right now. That hasn't been on the list just yet.
No, I don't think so either. I like the word growth.
Yeah, growth is good. We want to grow.
Evolve. I mean, I've been using the word evolve a lot.
Yeah.
Instead of growth.
Yeah. The next on the list, manifestation. Manifestation.
Yeah. That's one word I would say, let's just get rid of it.
Well,
too overused. In my opinion.
It's very commonly used these days, but it's actually the word manifestation. I think it's a good polarizer, depending on what you offer and who your niche is, because a lot of people will be immediately turned off by the word manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be a good thing, because if what you sell is law of attraction coaching or spiritual coaching, you
Mm-hmm.
might want to use a term like manifestation to repel the people who are not in your niche anyways, who are not
That's
your
true.
potential clients anyways, and to as a a signal to those who are in your niche. So yeah, manifestation. Um, and then likewise, you might want to be mindful if what you're offering is not exclusively for people who are of that persuasion. You may want to avoid a word like that because it will turn off some
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that. Oh,
Oh,
abundance.
number 13, abundance. Abundance. There's nothing wrong with the word abundance. The reason that this one is in murky waters these days is because of the number of people who have hired abundance coaches and not been led to abundance.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out there offering abundance, and their clients don't necessarily always receive it. So I think there's a bit of a negative connotation, not for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but for some people, I think there's a negative connotation attached to the word abundance or abundance coaching.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Again, that one's a polarizer too. It might
It
work for
is.
you or it might work against you.
Yeah, I would probably lump manifestation and abundance together because like I
Yeah,
feel like they kind of go hand in hand.
they often will go hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is intention.
I
I
mean, you
don't
could
think
take the good and the bad with equanimity
you
when it
could.
comes to those
Good.
two words.
You could do
Hmm.
that. Yeah. Um, if you were so inclined, if you were keen. Yeah. Number next. What was it? Intention. I don't think intention's overused.
I love intention.
Yeah. It's
It's
good to
I think
have
it's a power word, to be honest.
power word. We like
Yeah.
power words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Intention. We're going to give that one a pass, I think.
Hmm.
Gratitude. Uh, it's hard. Gratitude has such a positive connotation that I think it would be hard to really
Yeah.
overuse it. It's hard to fault gratitude or talking about gratitude. I don't know. Listeners, you let me know if you think gratitude is overused.
I think if it's used with intention,
If
it's
it's
also
used,
important.
it's used with an appropriate intention.
Because
The
if you're using gratitude as manipulation,
Okay, yeah. Can you do
right?
that? How do you
Yeah.
use gratitude as manipulation?
Well, if you're like overtly grateful for something, I think sometimes that can come off as
Oh, yeah, if you're lying, like if
yeah.
you're pretending to be grateful and you're not. Like years ago, I had a job where at the end of the day, regardless of what had happened that day, I had a boss who would shake our hands as we were leaving and be like, "Thanks for all your help today." And like the first few days, that was great. And then like inevitably there were like days where like things went wrong, and like, people showed up late, and everything was bad. And he would still be like say the exact same thing. And then like one day I just realized he just says this regardless of how he feels about how, the day went,
Yeah.
and it has no meaning. So that was like fake gratitude.
Hmm.
Um,
We don't want
or
that.
he was just in the habit of whatever, no judgment against that person. He was a good man, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was, yeah, okay. Anyways, oh, number 16.
I love it. Inner work.
This one definitely deserves to be on the list. Inner work. You got to do the inner work, folks. The reason you're
Or
not getting results is because you're not doing the inner work. Yeah, this one, I know, will rub a lot of people the wrong way, especially people who like are trying to better themselves and are feeling frustrated. You come along and imply they're facing failure because of the inner work that they're not doing or that they need to do. It's kind of like, I think that the tricky thing with talking about inner work is that it's really easy to accidentally attach shame to a person when
yeah.
we talk about it. Um,
Actually, that's a really important point when it comes to creating content is the tone, right? When you bring up that word shame, it's like you can have a shameful tone or like like a disempowering tone, or you can have a positive empowering tone. So it's just like, and I find actually Grammarly is really helpful with this, because you can write something and it's almost like you want to reread it from the perspective of maybe somebody who hasn't done a lot of inner work, right? Or, you know, like you don't want to be putting out content that is shaming people for not having the awareness around whatever it is that you're talking about, because they might be new to the quote unquote journey, right? So that's something that I learned from Emma Burgess. Actually, she did like a content thing a while back that I attended, and she talked a lot about the tone, and I thought that was really important. And if you're NLP trained, you know, you kind of you know this already, but it's just an important reminder.
Yeah. The meaning of the communication is the message that's received, not that necessarily the message that is sent, folks.
Exactly.
That's straight out of NLP.
Yeah.
So be careful with that one. Be careful with inner work.
Yeah. Or even the work, you know, how people are always talking about doing the work.
Yeah. Don't accidentally shame your audience.
Yeah.
That can be a rapport breaker. What do we got? 4 more. Purpose. Number 17 is purpose.
Also kind of vague, right?
It is vague. It is a nominalization. And I think a lot of coaches use this word purpose and tell people you need to find your purpose with the greatest of intention, not realizing how frustrating it can be as a regular person or a potential client to be like, find my purpose. Like, that's so abstract.
Yeah.
To many people that it's just like overwhelming. I think
it's stressful because what if you're like, at the same time, I think like, I don't think your purpose is something that can be found. And this could be like a topic for another day, but I think your purpose is almost presented to you.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the way to do it, to allow your purpose, your why, your niche, etc. Allow these things to present themselves to you. Like go out there and have fun and, you know, create what you feel like creating and see where it leads.
Exactly.
You know, rather than
it's not really something you've lost and you're having to find it.
Yeah.
Right? Like it just hasn't been presented to you yet. So that takes the stress away when you look at it from that perspective, because you're just like, oh, well, it will appear when it's meant to appear.
Yeah.
Right?
Boom. Mindfulness is number 18. Depends how you're using it. I mean, if you're talking about meditation, it's going to be hard not to talk about mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Mindfulness is a word. Again, this is a word that's going to appeal to people who are initiated in mindfulness already, to people who are, you know, looking for specific results. They may not respond readily to a word like mindfulness. It's very abstract to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. I'm guilty of that. I always say that to my kids. Be mindful about how you blah, blah, blah.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between saying be mindful about.
That's true. Yeah.
Mindfulness. Like be mindful about to me just means think about whatever
what you're doing. Yeah.
Right? Like be mindful of cars when you're crossing the road, like, which just means it's a nice way of saying, remember there's traffic, don't get hit. Yeah. Right. Versus mindfulness will keep you safe as you journey through the streets searching for your purpose. Right. Yeah. Now we're like, they're going to be like, Mom, what the heck are you talking about? Which is a question perhaps Alanna Banks you've heard before. Anyways, last two, we got balance. Find your balance, everyone.
Yeah. I mean, there is no balance, in my opinion.
Yeah. There's New Balance. Quality running shoes.
But there's really no balance.
Is there not? See, this is the thing. The balance it means a different thing to every person. Yeah. Right?
Okay.
Anna's over there like, there's no balance. And I'm over here like, I'm swimming in balance, you know?
Yeah. I feel like there's priorities. When I think of the word balance, I think of priorities.
That's a quote right there, everybody. There is no balance. There
that
are
a new-
only priorities. AlannaBanksCoaching.com.
Is that a new mug?
Maybe it's a travel mug.
Oh, I like it.
Maybe it's a beer stein.
There we go.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I when I see the word balance, I think priorities.
Yeah. There you go. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one on the list. Yeah. This one's a hot button phrase.
Yeah.
Self-discovery. Self-discovery. That's another one that's a polarizer.
Mhm.
Some people will like that. Some people will not like that or not understand it and be turned off. Self-discovery.
Yeah, that one is another confronting word, similar to transformation. Because some people are like, I don't want to go inside and discover myself.
Yeah.
Like that can be threatening.
It depends on, what's your vibe, right? Like if somebody's like looking for coaching because they want to like add another zero to their, laundromat business, you're like, well, we just need to work on your self-discovery. It might not jive, right?
That's not going to land. Yeah.
Yeah. But in some contexts, it will appeal to people. So I think that's the answer for all of these words. Like consider the context and just consider
your audience too, right?
Yeah, consider the context and your audience and how these are going to be interpreted by the people who want to serve, right?
Yeah. Like if your clients are, really into like shamanic journeys and, going deep into the subconscious mind and all that stuff, then some of these words are perfect for that type of audience. But if you're promoting your business to like a bunch of newbies who are just getting started with their personal development, then you want to be gentle with the words, I think.
Unless, and there's exceptions too, unless you're appealing to newbies who are like really into the jargon and are excited for all these weird new words, right? So there's no rules. Figure it out. See what works, see what people respond to, see what they don't.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Yeah. I think this was a fun conversation though. I like it.
Yeah.
It's like I like looking at words and then like analyzing them a little bit. It's fun. It's fun
Language
for
is
me.
fun. Language is fun.
Yeah.
We shall see based on the ratings for this episode whether it's fun for the audience too.
Maybe they're like, what the hell? You guys are weird.
Thesaurus episode. Did you hear they discovered a new dinosaur?
No.
Yeah, it's not alive. Like it's also extinct like all the other dinosaurs. But I don't know. I saw it on the news. And the interesting thing about it is it looks like all the other dinosaurs. Like I'm like 98% sure it was in the original Jurassic Park. But hey, they say it's new.
Interesting.
Join the Simple Social Sanctuary. The price is going to be going up really soon. So it's only $7 a month right now. And if you join now, you get to keep that price as long as you're a member. So it's all about how to do social media using AI and simple techniques to make it easier and quicker than ever before to have a quality social media presence that turns strangers into happy paying clients for coaches and hypnotists. RyanMontes.com. Alanna, what do you got going on?
Love it. I have lots of availability for palm readings. So if you want a palm reading or if you're intrigued by my palm reading skills, send me a message on Instagram at Alanna Banks Coaching and I'll book you in. We do everything on Zoom. I send you instructions about how you need to take photos of your hands. And actually, after being at the market on the weekend, I prefer to read palms on Zoom because I share my screen with you and we can like zoom in. And it's a lot easier to see the markings. I don't have to use my magnifying glass with like the flashlight on it. So yeah, send me a message and book yourself a session with me. I make it a whole experience.
Yeah, do it. I've experienced it. It's pretty great. Yeah, cool.
All right.
See you later.
That's it. See you next time.